Hello again, everybody. My name is Mike Petralia. It's episode 236 of Patriots Beat on the CLNS Media Network. Follow us at www.clnsmedia.com. Follow us on Twitter at two locations, at CLNS Media and at Patriots CLNS. You can also follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/CLNS Media. My pleasure to welcome to the program one of the terrific college and pro sports football reporters in the New England region. He works for the Boston Herald, does a great job not only complimenting the coverage of Jeff Howe and Karen Kurkjian at the Boston Herald, but also covers Boston College. That would be Adam Kurkjian. Adam, welcome to the program.
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing well, Adam. It's a pleasure to have you on at this time of year because with the NFL Combine just completed in Indianapolis, and obviously everybody looking forward to NFL free agency in middle of March, coming up in about a week and a half, and then, of course, the draft at the end of April in Dallas is a great part of the off-season of the NFL, and I'm just curious to get your impressions of the recently completed NFL Draft Combine in Indianapolis.
I feel like when people look at the Combine for quarterbacks, it's got to be taken with such a small grain of salt because, you know, there's no defenders, it's just one guy running a route, and it is a little silly to take too much away from it, but I will say that there was nobody that was as consistently accurate as you expect for somebody who sort of dominate that setting. There's some highlights here and there, but still the guy that I came away most impressed with was Baker Mayfield, and who knows? You really doubt that the Patriots will ever get a shot at him where they're picking now. But I mean, if you're looking for somebody who would really fit well in their offense and look good this weekend, I'd say him.
Yeah, obviously the assumption is, that the top three quarterbacks, Sam Darnold of USC, Josh Rosen of UCLA, and Josh Allen of Wyoming, they'll be gone, within probably the first, 5 to 7, 8 or so picks of the NFL draft. Then it becomes a little murky in terms of, will a team that perhaps needs a quarterback, will they reach for a Baker Mayfield? And if they don't, maybe they drop, maybe a Baker Mayfield projects to drop down later into the first round. And, of all of the quarterbacks who are available, realistically available, Adam, who sticks out to you? I mean, I love Mason Rudolph out of Oklahoma State just because of his completion percentage at a, major conference in the Big 12. Who sticks out to you?
I like Rudolph too. I'm not sure how much. He's another guy that could slip early to another one of those teams that has a quarterback and is sort of looking for a succession plan. But he could be around there. A guy that might be even further down is the guy everybody's sort of been talking about is Kyle Lauletta out of Richmond. And I liked what I saw from him the other day too. I mean, it really kind of sold me on him was his Senior Bowl performance. I was watching it that day, and the fact that he doesn't have like an overwhelming arm, but he knows when to use it, and is really good in the red zone. He was just very impressive to me. So, I'd like to see if he is somebody that they target as well, because it's one of those things where it's almost a cliche at this point is how much the Patriots would be a great fit for this kid. So he's somebody I really want to keep an eye on. A lot of people really like Luke Falk out of Washington State, who would definitely be there. He didn't really do much to separate much for me when I watched him. There's some other guys. I know some people like Logan Woodside out of Toledo. He's got some a lot of the same characteristics in terms of being accurate, somewhat of a good processor when he drops back and is able to see what's in front of him. So there's a few of those guys. Rudolph is a guy I like a lot too, like you said. I mean, he's very effective in all that RPO stuff. So he's a smart kid. I know that he's somebody who's a real, he just loves to get into film, and he's very studious. So I feel like really in any offense he could be pretty good.
I read somewhere where there have been some comparisons between Kyle Lauletta and maybe a ceiling of similar to Alex Smith. Do you think that is reasonable?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. They got
Why
a lot of
is
the
that?
same
Yeah.
skill sets. But they got a lot of the same skill sets. They got a lot of the same athletic traits that were in the actual combine itself, in terms of 40-yard dash and three cone and stuff like that. They're guys that can actually hurt you with their feet too, although they would rather sort of use their feet to buy time to pass. He got down to a 4.77 in the 40 at one point, and he's got a pretty good three cone for a quarterback at 6.95. So, he's got a lot of athletic traits, and in terms of how he throws the ball, he's somebody that is most effective in the short and intermediate passing game, and that's something you would probably say for Alex Smith too.
So I'm going to speaking of using your feet, I'm going to throw the name Lamar Jackson out at you. And why would the Patriots want to go after him? And why would Josh McDaniels welcome a guy like Lamar Jackson? Many people have said he would go after Lamar Jackson for the same reason he went after Tim Tebow. And why wouldn't the Patriots go after him? Give me the pros and cons of Lamar Jackson getting drafted by New England.
Well, I'm a huge Lamar Jackson fan. I watched him a ton in college. Even the bowl game before he broke out in the end of his freshman year before his sophomore year when he won the Heisman. He's somebody that, listen, all right, if you're going to give Josh Allen kudos for having a strong arm and being a good athlete, well, Jackson doesn't have as strong an arm as Josh Allen, but he's a way better athlete. And I understand the cons with Jackson. He hasn't had great completion percentage numbers
and the red
over
zone.
His career. And the other thing that people would point to, but the one thing people should know is that his completion percentage has gone up each year that he was in college. And had he stayed in, if you follow that same trajectory, he'd probably be over somewhere around 61%. So at least. So, and another thing that people have to remember is he's had some real, he's been on a good team, but he's had to really carry it. So last year, or 2016, he was on an offense that had a horrible offensive line to the point where Bobby Petrino had to change coaches there. Right, it was that bad.
Yeah.
So he was on a bad offensive line, and he won the Heisman. Okay, and then the year after that, he's playing on a team with an awful defense. You can watch these highlights and these scouting videos and not really get the full feel of what the game was like because you're not really watching the whole game. And when you were watching these games last year, Jackson's teams were always having to match scores with teams. I mean, if you remember the BC game.
I was just going to bring that up, Adam.
I mean, that was pretty much their whole year until the last few games when they started to, figure it out a little bit, but it was too late. But, I mean, he was in so many games where he had to just sort of match scores and, you play almost flawless to get his team to win games. Now, and he also lost most of his skill position players from the year before. So in a lot of ways he got better and it didn't quite show up in the numbers. But I mean, look, a lot of people want to view his legs as a negative for some reason. In fact, just sort of like, oh, well, he can run, but I don't know if he can throw. He can do both. And if the Patriots are lucky enough to have a guy like that fall to him, they shouldn't think twice. I mean, I think he's that good.
Yeah, and, people have mentioned with Lamar Jackson, it's not his legs that are the problem, it's his footwork. And that is the one thing, when you hear people talk about Lamar Jackson, that's the one thing I think an NFL team, whether it's Josh McDaniels or whoever winds up taking Lamar Jackson, that's the one thing they're going to have to work on, right?
Right, and that's the thing is with the Patriots, you're planning on having Brady for what, another 2 years,
2 to 3, sure.
Who knows? Yeah, you get Brady for 2 to 3 years. You can have Lamar Jackson on your bench holding a clipboard and learning from the best. And you don't think maybe in 2 to 3 years, a guy with his athleticism and physical tools and ability to really make things happen on a football field, won't be ready to, contribute in a major way in an offense like this? I mean, and that's another thing people, will throw in there is that, he played in a Patriots-like offense in college. So it's exciting to think. Here's what I sort of think about Lamar Jackson is people compare him to Michael Vick, okay, and sort of, the accuracy issues, but a great runner. You kind of feel like when you look at Lamar Jackson, that's the floor, is Michael Vick, all right? You're not going to have him come in and throw 40%,
Right.
He's going to come in here at the very minimum, when the pocket breaks down, you have a weapon at quarterback who can make things happen. And so if you think, okay, well, that's the floor, and then say, well, what if we clean up his mechanics, his accuracy improves in this certain offense, and then you add certain designed runs to the offense, what do you get then? Okay, then you get an all-pro, all right? So if you have that luxury, of being able to sit this guy for a year or two and get him to the point where you think he can really contribute, then, man, you're in a really good spot.
You're selling me hard on Lamar Jackson. You know that, Adam, right?
I know. I'm pro Lamar big time. I just feel like a lot of the arguments against him, too, are sort of, I don't know, like
shallow?
Or sort of, yeah, especially with the completion stuff, like with the accuracy stuff. Like it's not like he's throwing these jailbreak screams every time or, dumping it off to a running back or, when, Brandon Cooks comes around and Brady just sort of flips it to him. Those aren't the throws he's making out there. He's making difficult passes, and he's a tremendous athlete. So I feel like people are overthinking it with him.
Speaking with Adam Kurkjian, covering the Patriots and the NFL and college football for the Boston Herald. Whole food protein bars with simple, real ingredients. I'm talking about RX Bar. Go to rxbar.com for 25% off your first order. Visit rxbar.com/CLNS and enter the promo code CLNS at checkout. Again, receive 25% off your first order. Why RX Bar? It's a whole food protein bar. And what does that mean? Their bars are made with 100% whole ingredients. They want to be transparent and upfront with their customers, which is why they label the core ingredients, egg whites, dates, and nuts on the front of their package and the ingredients that make up the texture and taste on the back. Beyond being a go-to snack that checks off a number of nutritional boxes, RX bars actually taste delicious. Take it from me, take it from my 2 daughters who are very active in high school sports. They love their RX bar, especially the mint flavored ones. They absolutely eat them up, and it's a must go-to nutritional snack for them as they go off to their sporting events. They found creating a bar made from real whole food ingredients actually tastes better than anything out there. They don't need the fillers, the additives, the chemicals, or the added sugar. Again, for 25% off your first order, visit rxbar.com/CLNS and enter the promo code CLNS at checkout. Speaking again with the one and only Adam Kurkjian of the Boston Herald, does a tremendous job covering pro football, along with Jeff Howe and Karen Kurkjian for the Boston Herald, also covers college football. And college football happens to be on our mind right now because it's the time after the NFL Combine in Indianapolis, leading up to the NFL Draft in late April. I want to move on to Gronk. Everybody's talking about Gronk, what the Patriots should do. What if, Adam, the Patriots decide, instead of going for a quarterback at number 31, Hayden Hurst is available from South Carolina? Do they go after Hayden Hurst?
Well, it's interesting. I mean, if he's available, he's certainly a guy that you look at. But another guy that looked really good this weekend, and again, I don't want to fall into the trap of saying, all right, well, because the guy looked good in the Combine, you definitely got to go this way. But the Mike Gesicki out of Penn State I think I'm pronouncing his name
Gesicki,
correct.
no, it's Mike Gesicki,
yeah.
sure.
Yeah, he looked great. Like, I mean, he ran 2.45s, or 4.55s or 4.54s, whatever you want to give it. He had a 6.763 cone, which would be good for a lot of wide receivers, let alone a tight end who's 6'5", 247. And the first time we talked, we mentioned a lot about how a lot of these guys are better receivers than they are blockers.
Right.
But if you're going to go by that, if you're going to say, all right, we're going to concede the point that these guys aren't real all-complete tight ends, and you're not going to find a Rob Gronkowski in this class, then you're going to look for a guy that can do the things that Gesicki did there. And it's not like he's just good in the combine. He had a fantastic season as a player, and his film is really good. So he's somebody you look at. So there's a lot of guys in this draft at the tight end position who you could really like.
Troy Fumagalli, he's another Big Ten tight end.
Yeah, I mean he's a big guy. Didn't run the 40, I don't think, at the combine, but still like Mark Andrews from Oklahoma. Who knows? I mean, some people just don't think he's enough of a blocker to take him, but 6'5",
250.
250. Yeah, 250. One of his first time doing the 40-yard dash, and this weekend was a 4.59. So, he's you turn on the tape with this guy, he's a beast. So there's several tight ends that you look at and say, okay, if you want to go that way, if you think Gronkowski's out, then there's some good guys you can take there, and you can even there will even be some good guys there in the later rounds. So it's a really good draft of tight ends for the Patriots if they want to go that way.
Okay, you mentioned the 3-cone drill, Adam. Why is the 3-cone drill so important to the Patriots? I've heard time and time again that Bill Belichick values that 3-cone drill more than any of the drills that he sees in the 5 to 6 days in Indianapolis.
Well, I think it's most it's you see that type of quickness become more useful on a football field than a 40-yard dash. Like, I think it's important to have speed, but it's harder to measure quickness, and you can do it with the 3-cone drill a little bit more. And so, in a football game, how many times does a guy just run straight? There's always that cut or 2 cuts that you have to make in order to, get free or, do anything really, stay with the receiver. It seems to me, and I'm not saying that this is why they do it, but it just seems to be like a more football specific type drill that would come into play more often than a 40-yard dash.
So in other words, Adam, change the direction. That's what's really important.
Right.
And that is a critical skill to have if you're with the Patriots or any NFL team. But I know Bill Belichick over the years has really valued that 3-cone drill. And while we're on the subject of guys that are going to need to change direction really quickly, Malcolm Butler isn't coming back. I think we all know that. And
right.
Short of the Patriots going out and trading for either Richard Sherman, who's coming off 2 Achilles injuries, or Aqib Talib, who's 32, Patriots might go the draft route. And if they do indeed decide to do that at 31 or even early second round, there are some intriguing names. I'm going to throw 3 out at you. A couple of them may not be available, may never make it to the Patriots. Josh Jackson of Iowa, Denzel Ward of Ohio State. But there's Mike Hughes, who got rated very highly heading into the combine out of Central Florida. What do you think of those 3?
I like all 3 of them. And I think obviously Mike Hughes is the one that's most likely to fall to them. He just doesn't have the same amount of buzz around those other 2 as that you seem to see in these mock drafts. Now, obviously those don't really mean anything until teams start actually picking. But, Jackson seems like, he wasn't a blazing fast 40 guy at the combine. But he actually did pretty well. Like his first time was 4.49, and he's a 6-foot guy. So, and then you look at his tape and his production, and there's really not much you can quibble with when you got a guy like that. I mean, he always, he's going to turn a pass broken up into an interception or a pick six. He's just got that. He's got that ability to him.
He's also
Ward is a great cover.
Yeah, not to cut you off, Adam. He was the one who had the 3 interceptions against J.T. Barrett and Ohio State, and single-handedly ended Ohio State's national championship dreams in Iowa City.
Yeah, he did, and then to sort of cut back in there is Denzel Ward. I mean, all three of those guys are good players. A guy that probably should be there, who had a fantastic combine, was Jair Alexander out of Louisville. Now, he's battled some injuries, and we're circling back to Louisville, but not huge. I mean,
5'11".
Good enough. Yeah, good enough size. And he clocked really low in the 40. He got a 4.38, and his 3-cone was pretty good too. It was a 6.71. So he's quick. He's fast. He's great with the ball in the air. He was much better in 2016 just simply because he wasn't battling as many injuries. But he's a guy that can come in and play right away. I mean, I feel like a good corner can come in out of college and do well in most systems, especially if it's just a press man system. I feel like I've liked Jair for a while. I thought, he might not have even been eligible last year, but I thought, even if he had come out last year, he would have been one of the. And I don't think that's possible. I don't know if that's possible or not. I forget if he's a junior or senior. But I looked at Alexander, and I remember I think he might have had 2 interceptions against Clemson, against Deshaun Watson's Clemson. And I remember just thinking, wow, this guy really just has a knack about him. So it'll be interesting to see where he goes.
Let's turn a little bit closer to home in the college front, and I think a lot of people want to know what happens with Boston College and Harold Landry. Harold Landry had an ankle injury that kept him out for the second half of the season, and even missed the bowl game. And I want to ask you point blank, did that hurt his draft prospects, or it didn't really matter whatsoever?
No, I don't think it did. I think when you're a good pass rusher, teams will be able to look over a lot.
Right.
And I don't think ankle injuries are tricky. I mean, it takes a lot of time. I mean, sometimes they never get better. But I honestly think for a guy who is as strong and athletic and quick and all that good stuff, I think it would be crazy for a team to overlook Landry based on an ankle injury that kept him out in the last couple of games. Now, I mean, I don't know exactly why he stayed out. Maybe had it been an NFL season, he could have stayed out there and fought through it. I don't know how bad it was, and I don't know how much his prospects looking forward played into that. But you look at that guy. He's so tough off the edge, and it's so valuable. And he's so athletic, you could even drop him back eventually and teach him how to drop back into coverage. I just think he's an unreal talent, and he'll be long gone, I think, by the time the Patriots pick. But who knows? Maybe he falls to them and gives them something to think about.
Would you think they'd be tempted to take him at 31 if he's there?
Oh, I would think, yeah. I mean, I really like him. You can't go wrong with a great edge presence. Even if you have guys like that, then it's like drafting a great pitcher.
Right.
The position is so important. That you can really never have enough depth there. So yeah, if he was there, sure, why not? Yeah, he's very good. But not if Lamar Jackson's there too. You take Lamar.
That is good advice from Adam Kurkjian, somebody who would definitely know. Adam, I know you write for the Boston Herald. What else do you do, and how can people follow you on social media?
On social media, it's just my name on Twitter, at Adam Kurkjian. ADAMKURKJIAN. I also do correspondence work for Athlon, which does a lot of college football. That's where most of my college football stuff comes out. And yeah, that's pretty much where you can find me. And me and Evan Lazar from the Herald do a podcast called The Naked Bootleg. You can find that on iTunes and on SoundCloud, and the Twitter page for that is @NakedBootPod. And and we'll do one of those again this coming week. Sort of wrap up the combine stuff. And then we should probably definitely have you on there at some point.
I would be happy to return the favor,
yeah.
Adam.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Awesome.
I appreciate that. And by the way, a shout out to Evan Lazar at the Boston Herald. You can follow him on Twitter at EZLAZAR, Evan Lazar. I want to thank Adam Kurkjian for joining us on episode 236 of Patriots Beat. Get daily team updates on the Patriots Newsfeed podcast with Tyler Trudeau, which is also available on the CLNS Media New England Patriots postgame show feed. Available again on iTunes, Stitcher, YouTube, and the CLNS Media mobile app. Thanks again for downloading today's Patriots Beat. Want to once again thank our guest Adam Kurkjian from the Boston Herald. You can also follow him on Twitter at Adam Kurkjian. You can also give us a follow at Patriots CLNS and at CLNS Media. You can also give my own personal account a follow at Trags, TRAGS. Today's sponsor, RXBar.com. For Patriots content manager Mike Alonji, CLNS Media executive producer Larry H. Russell, the founder of the network Nick Gelso, thanks to everyone who tuned in. This is Mike Petralia, and this is the Patriots Beat podcast, powered by CLNS Media.
What's going on, Past Nation? This is Marvin Zahn of the CLNS Media Network, and I'm here to tell you right now to check out the CLNS Media New England Patriots postgame show hosted by myself and my co-host, Mr. Mike Nice. And live on CLNS Radio immediately after every single Pats game. Call in at 929-477-2386 toll free to get your voice heard and contribute to the host breakdown and analysis of the latest Patriots contest. We also got the stars and sorries of the day, Twitter posts for the plays of the game, and everything else that is going on with the 5-time Super Bowl champion. Subscribe to CLNS Media New England Patriots postgame show on iTunes and Stitcher, and the best way, download the free CLNS Media Network mobile app for on-demand listening anytime, any place, anywhere.